the restart going into 3 and 4 there with Chase, if you inch ahead of him on the backstretch or get a nose out ahead of the 9, can you drive down a little deeper? Do you have a little bit better grip?
Yeah, 100%. And I mismanaged when we were beside each other there. I think he did a really good job of managing his run into the corner. The speed relative to me. There's a certain way that you want to be side by side when you enter a corner, and certainly when I nosed ahead off of turn 2, I knew that I'm not going to be ahead entering turn 3. So I think he managed it well. I didn't. And then I just was desperate in my attempt to try to stay on that right rear. So, yes, it really matters. Had I been able to enter turn 3 nose to nose, then the outside car controls how low he wants to push the bottom guy. But the minute Chase started getting a little bit clear, he's going to just start coming up the racetrack and saying, all right, the whole racetrack's mine, which that's a good strategy. Trust me. So it put me, we didn't make any contact. It put me in a error spot. And I just, again, said for 1,000 times, I couldn't run the high line and didn't all day. Was
there any thought in the competitor in you that was just like, you know what? I'll take second. I'll take, a good points day. I'll concede this.
I did.
Or it's just like, it, I want to win this race.
No, I thought that I'm like, second's not bad. I was thinking that as I was sitting in my pit stall and then banging hammers on the back of my car. I'm thinking,
well, hindsight, yeah.
Boy, second really would have been nice today.
Did you have that thought pre-wreck?
No, I did not.
That's what I was getting at, Travis.
I saw this wreck coming 5 minutes before it happened. As we're running, I mean, that's my job as a driver, right? Is to think about all the scenarios and what it's going to take to win the race. And I'm thinking my first job is I need to get a good restart and be beside him in turn 1 and 2. Second job is I need to be totally beside him in entering turn 3. So we need to be nose to nose. If I'm behind him, he's going to wash up and then I'm in a bad spot. So I thought about all the scenarios, and I thought about, well, what happens if I'm not ahead? I said, you know what? I'm just going to trust it. I'm going to sack up here, and I'm going to try to run higher than I did all day. I'm going to try it. Reddick was making it work. He hauled ass at that point of the race. He was running way up there. So I'm like, maybe it's possible. I'm going to try it. But I nearly busted my ass a few times, and so I just thought that, do I race conservatively here, or do I do everything I can to get this win? And just knowing that wins are hard to come by, generally speaking, I said I'm just going to do whatever it took, and I was willing to deal with the consequences. But I can tell you, once the consequences came, I had second thoughts.
Right. Like, do you ever think about the long term that, the path to a championship may first be a regular season championship?
I get it. I know. You're right. I'm wrong. I didn't want to wreck, but yes, I'm pained with this Monday morning thinking about what could have been if I just backed off. But I don't think the fans want to see me back off. They love it when that number 11 was backed up to the fence. Like, they want to see us go for it. That's why they reward us 5 bonus points for winning in the playoffs, right? Is they want to see us put it down and go for it. And sometimes sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it didn't.
Yeah, you gave him a treat. Not only was the 11 backed up against the wall,
oh man,
but the 9 crossed the start-finish line first.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this when Jeff and Jordan were talking about the good race poll. I'm like, surely that combination of me crashing and the 9 winning is worth 10 points.
I know. I thought Jeff undershot it. I thought for sure. He said 77%, I think. I thought for sure that was too low.
I said in the car that people would say 82%. It's looking like it's coming in lower than that. So
it's sitting at 74 right now.
Yeah.
but it's never been above 70.
And by the way, just for the record, Jordan is cheating by these straw polls. So Jeff is right.
But can't Jeff do a straw poll himself?
Why do that? The whole point is to guess based off of what you saw, what you feel the fans
You
will.
can't ask. You can't
Like,
ask
you
15
can't
different
say-
people how many candy corn are in the jar and get a rough estimate based on what they think.
Yeah, it's unethical, Jordan Bianchi. Unethical what you're doing. So I think, listen, we need to talk about the winner. Chase Elliott back in victory lane after a 42 race winless streak. And I only know that because I've seen it in every headline. 42 winless streak snapped. I thought, when they asked me after the race, well, does this make Chase a championship contender? I'm like, I need to think about that. But I would say my answer was, I thought that he's been improving all season long. He's fourth in the points right now, and he didn't just appear there after this win. Like, he finishes really well. Now, had he been leading laps like his teammates this season? No, he didn't have the wins either, but he's been there. He's been in contention. So I think that wins like this could definitely lead to some confidence that could lead to even more success. Most of Chase wins, I think, had come on road courses and not ovals. It had been documented he hadn't even had a top 5 in the next gen on an intermediate track. So not only did he get his first top 5, he got his first win. And he drove it to the first win. Like, he didn't do it on strategy or fuel mileage or anything like that. Like, he made a move, right? He passed me in the 45 on a restart, went 3 wide bottom, cleared us, took the lead. Now, I took the lead back from him because I thought generally our car was just a little better. But then he got us on a restart, and then he held those guys off for the win. So that's a legitimate race win. And what that does for a driver's confidence is I can't tell you how much it helps, because now he's like, okay, this is how aggressive I have to be. This is what I need out of my car for it to be fast. You start to understand all those things, and next thing you know, these wins start just reeling off. And so absolutely I would consider them a championship threat, because if you look just at the numbers, there's 2 organizations right now winning all the races, and it's Hendrick and Gibbs. So if you're part of one of them, you should be winning.
Here's his last races: 1st, 3rd, 5th, 16th, 8th. So he's starting to really
he's finding he found a way to win, which that's the hard part. You can get good finishes with fast cars. We obviously know he's got a fast car, but the winning part is tough. It is really, really tough, and I think that he did everything he had to do to win the race this weekend, and that goes a long way for his confidence.
It is interesting, though, that Travis brings up those stats, that how much leading laps plays into the psyche of someone and thinking this guy's having a great season or just an average season. The fact that Chase hasn't led as many laps as you, I feel like plays into that, the eye test of like, oh, well, Denny's having a great year, whereas Chase is not having as good of a year, even though statistically Chase may be having a better year than you besides wins.
What's interesting is we had a little sit down with Kevin Harvick with all the JGR drivers, and they asked Christopher Bell, why do you feel like you're overlooked at times? And he says, because I don't lead laps like my teammates. I don't, while I do win races and I do run up front, what people talk about is who's controlling the race, who's showing that they're the best.
It's style points.
It's
like
exactly
a football team winning by 30, or they're kicking field goals at the end of the game to
win.
And
he's like, so he says, I think it's somewhat warranted because we're not up front as much as Martin or Denny is. And so he's like, I think that plays a role in it. And so you can't argue like someone like Christopher Bell's results. You know, when you kind of digest this whole Chastain Larson thing, you definitely have to go back earlier